Hi, welcome back to your yoga mat. I would love for you to have a few things today. Maybe a chair if you have some tightness in the legs. A chair would be good. I know a lot of you don't have blocks at home, but some other thing like a box or some books, something to lift the floor up so that you can comfortably put your whole hand down on the floor with your legs straight. So the floor might be the chair for you today, like this. This is good enough, okay? But I don't want it struggling and reaching down to the floor. So get those things that you might need. Press pause if you need to and come back when you've got it. And then go ahead and find a comfortable seat. I like to sit up on a blanket. Those of you who've had my classes before might know that. But go ahead and find a comfortable seat. And close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose. Let it out through the mouth. Coming into this place in time. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Now continue in and out through the nose. And next inhale, slowly let your shoulders hunch up by your ears. And with the exhale, let them melt down away from the ears. Okay, one more time like that. And then we'll leave the shoulders relaxed down. And close your eyes if they're not closed and bring your awareness to your body, just how your physical body feels. Like the weight of it against the floor, the clothes you're wearing, maybe the touch of your hands against your legs or wherever they might be, your breath in your nose. Just be aware of that physical body, your bones, your muscles, your skin, your breath, your organs. So a lot of times in yoga or in any exercise, we mostly think about this, the physical body. But I invite you to, we're going to do a couple things here seated before we get moving, but with your eyes closed, as you breathe out, feel how there's a natural downward feeling of energy. And as you breathe in, there's a natural upward lifting. Okay, now stay as tall as you can and breathe out, but don't shrink down at all. And then breathe in. So you can notice what's working in the physical body to keep you sitting up really tall like this. But also be aware of that feeling of energy movement. It's another whole level of your existence, your energetic body, where energy moves in and around you. So as we're starting off sitting here for a while, I invite you to notice what kind of thoughts have come up for you, or what kind of feelings do you have about it. Like, oh, maybe you're like, oh, God, let's get moving already. Just notice that. Or maybe you're thinking, oh, I hope we don't do anything hard today, whatever. Notice your thoughts and your emotions that might be present today in your awareness. This is another whole level of your existence, your mental, emotional body. Each one of these that I'm mentioning is a little bit more subtle. So the next thing I would like you to be aware of is that part of you that was noticing these things. That part of you that can observe your thoughts and emotions. Sometimes we call this the wisdom body or intuition. It's like beyond thought, right? It's something beyond thought. Even within this, or more subtle yet, is the bliss body. So can you sense a feeling of bliss? All is well. It's way beyond the body and the thoughts and the emotions and everything. These are the koshas from the yoga philosophy. I think they come from the Upanishads, but I love the concept of it. I love thinking about the self having all these different layers and all these different aspects, because I think of them as lampshades: the body, the energy, the thoughts, the wisdom, the bliss, and then even within that is this light bulb that is the source of you, whatever you think that is, whatever that means to you. It could be, you could envision it like a light or like some kind of fountain of energy or whatever. It's like your main thing that keeps you alive. In the yoga teachings, it's called the Atman. It's kind of like the soul or the spirit. Okay, so as we move through our practice today, I'm going to ask you to keep noticing these different layers of yourself as we start to change the body into different shapes and stuff and movements. Okay, so find your way. Well, let's just take a gentle twist. So right hand or left hand to right knee, right hand behind you. Don't force this at all. Just a gentle twist. Head moving toward the right, chin moving toward the right shoulder. No forcing. Just feel the gentleness of the twist as you breathe out. Root down. As you breathe in, sit up really tall. And stay tall, and just notice how the physical body feels here. What's working, what's stretching, what's uncomfortable, what feels good. As you continue to breathe here, see if you can notice any sense of movement, of energy. And if you can't, that's fine. We're just exploring. There's no wrong way to explore. And what kind of thoughts are coming up for you now? Or what kind of emotions can you sense? And then be aware of that part of you that's sensing. Can you find the bliss body here as we're holding for a very long time this gentle twist? And then where is the source of you within all of that? As you inhale, come through center, and then we'll take that same gentle twist to the other side. So the breath, it is said that the breath moves through all of these layers. It's what connects us, all the layers. So really sit up tall as you breathe in, root down as you breathe out, both sitting bones rooting down, and then just explore those layers. I'm not going to talk. Keep the breath steady. Next inhale, come forward, and then exhale, find your way to hands and knees. We're not going to hold all of the poses that long today, and we're not warmed up yet. So find hands and knees, and find your cat and cow. So spread the fingers wide, and round the back, chin to the chest, tailbone under. As you inhale, tailbone lifts, belly dips down, chin lifts, chest opens, shoulders back. Exhale, tuck the tailbone, rounding the back, chin to chest, shoulders tucking under. Okay, so we feel the physical movement of this. The fingers spread wide, tops of feet pressing into the floor. All those little muscular things that are happening to move the skeleton. Let the breath flow, let the movement flow with the breath. Can you sense any energy movement here? Not just the physical movement, but maybe you're releasing some stuck energy somewhere. And then on the next exhale, press your hips back toward your heels for child's pose. You might rest your butt all the way on your feet, or maybe just stay a little bit lifted if you have any knee pain. You can also separate your knees, make more space for the body. But find a way to rest your forehead on something. This might be your folded arms, your stacked fists, or maybe your book or your block. You can place something under the forehead so there's no struggle to rest the forehead down. This is the middle of our forehead, metaphorical third eye in yoga. So you can invite that third eye to open by rocking the head back and forth, just kind of massaging out the forehead. So when our third eye is more quote-unquote open, it enables us to see these layers of ourselves more clearly, and it gives us access to those more subtle layers. So that can be our intention for the class today, is to kind of just be open to exploring these different layers. But of course you can set any intention that you like. Breathe out. Breathe in. Come on back up to hands and knees, and bring the knees under the hips again if they were separated. Okay, so bring your right foot forward between your hands. And if you feel like your hands are, you're having to struggle or you feel constricted to put your hands on the floor, you can lift your hands up with something, blocks, canned goods, something, whatever, to feel able more space in order to take this low lunge. I would love for you to really allow the hips to sink down toward the mat, so you feel that big stretch of the hip flexor, that left leg. Just breathe with that. Breathe in. Breathe out. Close your eyes. What is stretching? What muscles are actively holding you here? Where can you feel some tingling or some coolness or some heat, which is energy? And are there any thoughts coming up? Open your eyes and come up onto the fingertips and begin to walk your hands back. If you have blocks or something, you can move those things back. Or you can have fingers on the ground. So lift your front toes, and we're going to ease as you sink the hips back, heart out over this leg, heart reaching toward the toes. So if you really reach your toes up toward your body, your right toes, you're going to get a big stretch along the back of this right leg. Close your eyes. Breathe in, lengthen the spine. Breathe out, fold over the leg. Draw that right hip back. Breathe in. Breathe out. So you can, when you tap into your wisdom body, which is your intuition, it can help you to know how far to go with different postures. And trust it. It's sort of beyond thoughts. It's just like a knowing, an inner knowing. Okay, so we'll lunge back into this leg and then bring the front knee back. I'm going to bring the left foot forward. Same thing on the other side. So get that foot forward enough so it's kind of right under your knee, and your back knee is behind your hip so that you can sink the hips forward and down and get that big stretch of the right hip flexor. Draw the shoulders back and down. Again, if the floor is far away for you, you can come up on fingertips or come up on blocks. Just breathe. Close your eyes. Is there any bliss, the bliss body? Can you access that while we're in this, which might be kind of a comfortable stretch for you, or if it's not comfortable, it's harder to feel the bliss, but can you find the bliss within an uncomfortable stretch? Right, so begin to straighten that front leg, hips shift back. You can walk your hands back, walk your blocks back if you're using some kind of props, and then fold out over this extended leg. Reach those left toes up toward the body so you feel that stretch all the way down through the calf, the Achilles tendon, but especially the hamstring. Draw that left hip back. See if you can keep your spine nice and straight. Close the eyes. Sense the physical, energetic, mental, emotional, the wisdom body or the intuition, and bliss. And within that, that source of you, that source. Okay, go ahead and lunge back forward, bend into that knee, and then bring your front leg back. Spread the fingers wide, and look forward, tuck your toes, and then lift the knees and hips. And we find downward dog. If you've never done downward dog before, I'll give you some cues. If you've done it a million times, just ignore me and start to explore those layers of yourself as you make any movements that feel good to you in downward dog. Spread your fingers really wide. Draw the shoulders back away from the ears. Let the heels relax down toward the ground as you press your tailbone up toward the sky. Nice long spine here. Bend the knees a bit. Really push your butt up toward the ceiling so your spine is really, really long. And then begin to straighten the legs, keeping that length in the spine. Draw your lower ribs in. Suck your belly in. How does that change how it feels? Draw your pelvic floor up and in. This is the perineum. That's muscles between the pubic bone and the tailbone. If you pull those muscles up and into the body, changes the physical feeling of the posture and the energetic feeling of the posture. You might notice energy moving from the tailbone to the head because the head is below the heart, below the hips. Natural movement of gravity. All right, walk your feet forward toward your hands and we'll find standing forward bend. Okay, so we're all in different bodies here. You don't need to do it the way I'm doing it. Start with the knees bent a little bit and just release your upper body. And notice if your belly is pressing against your legs already. If it is, maybe separate your legs. Some of us have bodies that get in the way of themselves. If you separate the legs a little bit more, you have space to really allow the upper body to release. And if you keep the knees bent, you're taking the stretch out of the legs and just really allowing that length in the spine. So come into your breath. Explore the physical. What's happening physically? The energy. Observe what thoughts or emotions are present for you now. Be aware of that observer. And the bliss body. It exists in all situations, but sometimes it's harder to tune into it. And the source of you. Soften the knees and bring your hands to your hips. Look forward. Let the hips stay low. Draw the shoulders back. Pull the belly in. Exhale. And then inhale, press into the feet and stand all the way up. And you find yourself in mountain pose. Standing up, let's come up to the top of the mat. Okay, so feet are parallel to each other. Root down and feel that downward, that natural downward rooting energy as you breathe out. And then as you breathe in, lift up through the legs, through the body, all the way to the top of the head. And then breathe out, pull the belly up and in slightly. We'll do what we did at the beginning. Inhale, slowly allow your shoulders to rise up. Really squeeze them up. Exhale, allow them to melt back and down. A little half moon circle there. Inhale them up by the ears. Exhale, roll them back and down. Allow the arms to stay down. Inhale, lengthen the neck. Exhale, lift the kneecaps, engage the thighs. Draw the belly in. Inhale, turn your palms forward. Exhale, draw the shoulder blades gently together so that they're kind of lifting up the heart. So this is a mountain pose, actually a really powerful pose, even though we're just standing here. If you're doing all those things, you're really, it's a really powerful pose. And I would love for you to feel the alignment of your spine here, how it's kind of straight, but with its natural curves. The engagement of your core, drawing up and in. The engagement behind the shoulder blades, gently drawing them toward one another, but just enough to feel it, not so much that you're squeezing them together. Okay, so we're going to find your head is balanced on top of your spine. So when we move into some other postures, I would love for you to feel that same energy. Okay, so step the one leg back and turn to face the long side of the mat. Okay, and then so turn your right toes out toward the short side. Okay, and then hands on your hips, bend the knees, just shift your weight around a little bit on the feet. You can kind of just move your hips back and forth and just feel the feet against the floor. So you're really rooting down, really solidly connecting. And if you don't feel like there's any stretch happening, you can take your legs a little farther apart. And then bend into the right knee. So if you've done yoga many times, you know this is a warrior two legs or the setup for some other standing poses. So remember that feeling from mountain pose, hips and shoulders right up above each other, head balanced on top of the spine, navel drawing in, tailbone down, heart lifting up, shoulder blades drawing together, all these little things. And then bring your arms up to this T shape with the palms up. Okay, feel that energetically, the palms up. And feel how your shoulder blades can gently draw together. And then keep them drawing together as you turn the palms down. And then see how it feels if you look out over that right fingertips. Your legs might be starting to feel a little tired. Just notice that physical sensation. And then what does it do to your energy What thoughts or emotions might you be having, or reactions to holding this? Can you be aware of that observer within yourself that observes the thoughts and emotions in the bliss body? And then that source of you inside this warrior. Okay, straighten that right leg and then release your arms down. We're going to switch to the other side. So right toes forward, left toes out. Now I didn't ask you to really think about the breath at all in the last movement into this. So bend those knees again, shift the weight around, okay? Find the feet where the weight is balanced over the whole foot, and then straighten the legs, but don't lock your knees, okay? Exhale. Inhale, bring your arms up with the palms up. Exhale, turn the palms down. Inhale, bend the left knee, bring it right over the ankle. Exhale, turn your head to look out over the left middle finger. And then just explore as you continue to breathe and hold. All these different sheaths or layers of the self are equally important. Some are much more easy to notice and be aware of than others. Some are very hard to perceive, so it's okay if you don't notice them. Inhale, straighten the leg, and exhale, release the arms down. All right, so now turn your, let's step back up to the top of the mat, and then find your thing, whatever you're going to use. I'm going to start with the chair this morning, today, tonight, whatever time it is for you. And but you might use just a block. If you're a really bendy person through the legs, you might not need anything. But maybe you'll use a block or a book or a box or something. But I'm going to have you put that out in front of you, foot and a half or so, in front of this right foot. Okay, step your left foot back. And then lunge into your front knee, and then lean forward and bring your hands down to your thing. If it's the chair, and you're going to lift that back leg up. If it's a chair, you're higher up, right? If it's a block, you're lower down. But see if you can make a straight line from your heel to your head. So remember that alignment from mountain pose. Can you be in mountain pose in your body even though you're balancing on one leg here? Now bring your left hand to your hip and start to lift up the hip. So you're opening the hips toward the long side of your mat. If you're feeling really unsteady, one way I like the chair is you can come to your elbow on the chair, which is a lot stronger foundation for this challenging pose, which is half moon pose. Maybe you even lift your top arm up. Flex your lifted leg. Bend your standing leg just enough so your knee's not locked. Most challenging would be to look up at the top hand. So explore the layers of you here, even as we're holding this challenging pose. You may have your hand on the floor, which is much more challenging still. Can you find the bliss body within the challenging pose? And are you holding your breath or breathing shallowly? Fully breathe. Bend into your standing leg, bring your top hand down, and then just bring that the lifted leg down and stand up tall at the top of the mat. Come back to your mountain pose. Okay? Stand strong and tall in your mountain pose power. Don't lock your knees. Close your eyes or soften your gaze. Explore. Now we're going to try that on the other side. So we'll step the right leg back. You have your left foot facing the prop that you're using. I'm going to try it this time with the block instead of the chair. It's a little bit lower, a little bit more challenging. So I like mine about, a foot and a half in front of my standing foot and a little bit over to the left. So first I'm going to lift the back leg. I've got this front knee bent, both hands on the support. Flex that lifted leg. Feel that mountain pose from the heel to the head. Okay, and then we'll bring the right hand to the hip. Now anywhere along here, you're going to trust your intuition to stop. You can begin to lift that right hip. So you're opening the hips toward the side of your mat. And then maybe you even lift the right arm. So it's a very expansive pose. Don't lock that standing leg, flex the lifted leg. Most challenging would be to look up at the top hand. It's very hard to balance when you do that. Steady out your breath, explore. Where's the source of you within all of these layers in this challenging pose? All right, and we'll bend that standing leg, bring the top hand down, top foot down. Woo! And then come on back up to stand at the top of the mat. So, shake it out a bit. That was our balancing pose. That was a challenging balancing pose. Sweep the arms up and overhead. Exhale, dive forward, bend your knees, plant your hands. Inhale, walk the feet back to downward dog. And then exhale, lower the knees. Take the feet to one side, sit yourself down. Here's where you might want to tuck that blanket under your hips again. We'll bring feet together, knees apart. We're just going to take a nice passive Baddha Konasana pose. Nice passive butterfly stretch. So notice, trusting that intuition, notice on your physical body, do you like the feet closer in to your body or a little further out? Just fold out over the legs. Give your feet a little massage while you're there. And close your eyes and observe the feelings and thoughts that you had about that half moon pose. That's all they are, is thoughts and feelings. They're not you. Part of you, but they're not your true self. And I would venture to say that although yoga is a physical practice, the advanced yogi may not be able to do a challenging posture. The advanced yogi is able to stay connected to that unchanging part of the self, no matter what's going on. Let's lift up and lean to the right and bring your left leg around behind you. So we're moving toward pigeon pose here. And if this is painful on your knee, then you can flip over on your back and take right ankle over left knee, reach behind left thigh, and do the hip stretch that way. I would love it if it's available to your body. I would love for you to find your pigeon pose, and so the right toes are over toward the left side, right knee is toward the right side, and hips are moving down, pelvis moving downward toward the mat. If you feel a lot of space between your pelvis and the mat, I really suggest putting something under there, like a blanket, a block, a pillow, something to support your body, okay? Now, we're not going to fold over like we sometimes do in pigeon pose. I would love for you to come up onto your fingertips and bring the fingertips under your shoulders and then press into the ground. So this is a back bend. Don't push into it. Don't make any pinching or compression feeling in the spine. But draw your belly in. So we want inward energy from the belly button toward the spine. We want downward energy through the arms. Downward energy through the tailbone. And then upward energy through the heart. Okay, so find your breath. Feel all those movements of energy in all sorts of different directions. Hip stretches can tend to release emotions that we might be holding on to. So notice if anything comes up. Walk your hands a bit more forward, folding out over the body if that works for you. If not, you can keep the arms extended. We'll bring hands under shoulders, lift up, and then bring the front knee back to meet the back knee. Okay, so we're back to hands and knees. And we'll bring the left knee forward to find this pose on the other side. Left toes move over to the right. Of course, you just switch sides on your back if you're doing the other variation. So we'll bring the hips down. You scoot that back leg back as far as it can. Top of the foot comes to the floor. Okay, support the body. If there's space between your hips and the floor, just support it with something. Okay, then come on the fingertips. Take a breath in, straighten the arms as you feel that downward energy through the arms, upward energy through the heart. Downward energy through the tailbone. Inward energy through the belly button. Shoulders back and down. Forward energy from the shoulder blades toward the heart. Lifting it up. Breathe. Really draw the belly in. If you're feeling any compression in the spine, you can also walk your hands a little bit more forward. Tap into that observer as you observe any emotions that come up. Walk your hands further forward, folding out over the leg, letting the body fold forward. Where's the source of you within this posture? And bring hands under the shoulders. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, bring that front knee back. Okay? And then just shift your hips side to side. If you're on your back, you can just windshield wiper your legs back and forth, just swaying there a bit. And then you can just crawl the knees forward and sit yourself down once again. And this time we'll stretch the legs out wide. And sit up tall. So bring your hands behind your hips, lengthen up. And then as you breathe out, breathe out, draw that belly in. Okay? Breathe in, turn to face your right leg and take your right arm up. As you breathe out, fold to the side, reaching right fingertips toward left toes. Inhale, lift up, both arms up, rotate the body, and then exhale, left fingertips toward right toes. Inhale, lift up, rotate. Exhale, right fingertips toward left toes. Big side bend for the body. Inhale, up. And exhale the other way. Once you figure out what we're doing, really allow yourself to flow with this. Let the breath lift you up, rotate you, and the exhale take you into the side bend. Noticing the physical body, what's happening, and also the energetic body. If you can really get into flowing with the movement, with the breath, how does that feel energetically? What is it releasing for you? Let's just do one more on each side. And then inhale, come back to center, bring hands under the knees, bring the knees up, and just come down onto the back. Find your way down onto the back. And here's where we'll turn the body upside down. So you can just lift your feet up toward the ceiling with your hips on the ground, or you might tuck something under the hips. I'm using a block today. You could use a blanket, a pillow, and then lift the feet up so your hips are a bit elevated. Okay, so close your eyes. Make sure the support is under your hips, not under your back. And notice, do you feel upward energy from the earth to your toes? Or downward from the toes to the hips? Maybe both. Stay upside down for several breaths. If you're someone who just loves shoulder stand and you prefer that, of course, follow that inner wisdom. Or just stay here and observe. See if you can find all those different layers of the self, including the innermost Atman, or spirit, source of you. Notice your breath, it goes through all the layers. You can always constrict the back of the throat to bring more awareness to the breath. knees slowly. Bring your feet back to the ground. Lift the hips. Remove what you have underneath you. And then find your way to relaxation pose. Stretch the legs out toward the corners of the mat. Turn your palms up and tuck the shoulder blades underneath you. And when you lay flat like this, if you feel any discomfort in your low back, you can keep the knees bent. Feet separated, knees resting toward the center. Or you could actually put something under your thighs, like a blanket rolled up or a pillow. You might want to tuck something under the head. Do what you need to do to make yourself so comfortable that you can almost forget about your body. Come into such a deep relaxation that you can almost forget about the body. It takes a few minutes for the body to slow down, the mind to slow down. Let's take a slow breath in through the nose and then exhale it out even more slowly, maybe counting up to 6 or 8, your exhale. So you get a nice inhale, then exhale. Allow that exhale to lead your body into letting go. Relax the muscles around your eyes, the muscles of your jaw, your cheeks. Let that heavy, relaxed feeling flow down through your body. So you really let go of any physical effort. And then be aware of any energy you can feel moving. Maybe a tingling or a warmth or a vibration of some sort that you can sense in your energetic body. And be aware once more of any thoughts or emotions that you're sensing right now. And then be aware of the part of you that's being aware. Go deeper still to the wisdom body, which sometimes I can sense in between the thoughts, in that blank space in the mind. There's little spaces between all those thoughts. The wisdom body resides beyond the thoughts. And to really settle in to a deeper state of relaxation, sometimes this is where I can get a sense of that bliss body, this all is well feeling or sensation. If not, that's okay too. And see if you can be aware of the source of you. And again, if none of this is making sense or you can't sense any of these things, don't worry, it's just exploration of the self. Explorers sometimes have to go on many, many expeditions before they actually find something. So take a few more minutes to rest in this exploration of yourself. Enjoy the journey. these moments of quiet stillness when we have a better chance of sensing these more subtle layers of our existence. So if you can stay longer to just be still and quiet, I highly recommend it. Otherwise, just begin to bring some movement back into the physical body and notice how that feels energetically. Let those movements grow. Taking your time to find your way to resting on one side in the fetal position. And for me, it's pretty hard to stay consciously connected to these most subtle layers of the self, but one that isn't quite so subtle is that observer self, that higher self that can kind of watch the body and the emotions and the energy from this higher place. So see if you can stay connected to that as you press yourself up to a comfortable seat. And then relax the shoulders down, sit up tall, and bring the hands together in front of the heart. Come back to the awareness of the breath as you deepen it in and release it out. So the breath moves through all the layers. It's what connects all the layers. You can observe that movement of the breath. And then the sound vibration of Om is the sound of the source of all life. A sound vibration that also is in all these layers and in all the layers of all the beings everywhere. So when we listen to or sing the sound Om, it's like a little shortcut to that connection with ourselves, our deeper, higher selves, which is the goal of yoga. And it also is a kind of a shortcut to that plugging into that universal vibration of our existence, of all beings everywhere. So I'll sing it. You can join me or listen. Nice deep breath in. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I hope you come back to check out more videos as we continue this journey of self-exploration that is the practice of yoga. Have a wonderful day or evening or afternoon.